Imagine a world where gods walked among mortals, where heroes bargained with fate, and where every mountain, river, and storm had a story. That is the world of Greek myths, a vast, living tapestry of tales woven over centuries that explained nature, guided behavior, and shaped a civilization's identity. At its heart, these myths are not merely fanciful stories, they are cultural tools. They offered the ancient Greeks frameworks for understanding the unknown. Why the seasons change, how cities form, what justice looks like, and why love and cruelty can be two sides of the same coin. Greek mythology grew out of religious practice and oral tradition. Poets, priestesses, and storytellers passed these tales down at festivals, in temples, and around hearth fires. Homer's epics and Hesiod's theogony are familiar anchors, but the mythology also includes localized myths tied to particular city-states, heroes, and cults. This meant the same god could be loved as a protector in one town and feared as a vengeful force in another. Myths were lived experiences. Rituals, sculptures, and dramas converted narrative into public action, reinforcing community values and political structures. The significance of these myths extends far beyond antiquity. In everyday terms, they legitimized rulers, explained natural phenomena, like Demeter's grief causing winter, and taught moral lessons through cautionary tales, such as Icarus's fate after ignoring wise counsel. In art and architecture, they provided visual language. Temples became theaters of divine stories, and vase paintings immortalized episodes for viewers who might never read the epic lines. Philosophers and playwrights used myth to explore ethics and human nature, adapting old stories to probe new questions about the soul, fate, and free will. Consider Athena's origin, sprung fully formed from Zeus's head, used to validate her role as a city's patron and symbol of wisdom. Or the labors of Heracles, which appear in local cults across Greece and served as metaphors for struggle, redemption, and civic valor. In the modern world, these myths inspire literature, film, psychology, and political metaphors, proving their enduring power. Yet myths can be contradictory and mutable. Different versions reflect competing values or historical changes. Critics warn against taking them as literal history, while scholars emphasize their symbolic, ritual, and social functions. Ultimately, Greek myths are inseparable from the culture that created them. Religious practice, civic identity, art, and performance, all indispensable, making them indispensable keys to understanding ancient Greece and its lasting legacy. Begin with the beginning. In Greek myth, origins are a family story. The cosmos springs from chaos, a yawning void. Then Gaia, earth, and Uranus, sky, emerge, and with them, the first generation of divine beings, the Titans. Titans are primal, immense, and elemental. Cronus, Rhea, Oceanus, Hyperion, and others who personified time, the sea, the sun. They are not merely predecessors, they embody forces and set the stage for later drama. Their significance lies in establishing the idea that power is inherited, contested, and often violent, a pattern that repeats across Greek myth. From the Titans comes the Olympians, the gods most familiar to us. Cronus, warned that a child would overthrow him, swallows his newborns. Rhea saves Zeus by tricking Cronus and hiding the infant on Crete. When Zeus grows, he forces his father to disgorge his siblings. Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, Hestia, and leads a rebellion, the Titanomachy, that ends with the Titans defeated and the Olympian order established. This genealogy explains not just relationships, but moral and political shifts. Younger gods replacing an older order, a cosmic reorganization that mirrors human revolutions. Specific examples animate this genealogy. Zeus, king of the Olympians, rules the sky and wields thunder, but his authority is contested by the stubborn Hestia's desire for domestic peace and by Poseidon's claim over the sea. Athena's birth, springing fully armed from Zeus's head after he swallows Metis, highlights themes of wisdom and cunning born from masculine power. Demeter's grief over Persephone's abduction by Hades explains the seasons, marrying family trauma to natural cycles. These stories serve as mythic explanations for the world and as dramatizations of family dynamics. Scholars debate and reinterpret these lineages. Some see them as echoes of historical shifts from matriarchal to patriarchal societies. Others emphasize ritual practices that preserved older deities under new names. Challenges include conflicting versions. Hesiod, Homer, and local cults offer different pedigrees, and the tendency to anthropomorphize forces that might have been originally independent. Nonetheless, the divine family trees connect to every other aspect of Greek religion: cult practices, moral lessons, political allegory, and art. Knowing who begat whom clarifies why gods ally or feud, why cities favor certain patrons, and why myths repeat the cycle of succession, reminding audiences that power, like lineage, is both a gift and a burden. The major Olympian gods were the central characters of Greek myth, each embodying a distinct force of nature, human drive, or social institution. Define them as the 12 principal deities who lived atop Mount Olympus: Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Hermes, and later Hestia or Dionysus, depending on the source. Each god's role describes what they govern: sky, marriage, the sea, harvest, wisdom, music, the hunt, war, love, craftsmanship, travel, hearth. And their symbols and visual iconography are shorthand that allowed ancient viewers to instantly recognize and understand their mythic function. This matters because the gods' roles shaped ancient Greek religion, art, and civic identity. Temples, festivals, and rituals centered on specific deities. Civic patrons like Athena in Athens or Apollo at Delphi influenced law, politics, and culture. In art and literature, symbols became a visual language. Zeus with his thunderbolt, Poseidon with trident and horses, Athena in armor with an owl and spear, Demeter holding sheaves of wheat. These images helped storytellers and artists communicate complex ideas quickly, and they persist as cultural touchstones today. Concrete examples: on Athenian coinage and the Parthenon sculptures, Athena appears armed with a helmet and shield, sometimes with an owl perched nearby, signaling wisdom, strategic warfare, and patronage of the city. In vase painting, Hermes is shown with winged sandals and a caduceus, indicating his role as messenger and guide of souls, while Apollo's lyre and laurel wreath mark him as god of music, prophecy, and healing, visible in temple sculptures at Delphi and literary depictions in the Homeric hymns. Opinions among scholars add nuance. Some argue iconography served pragmatic functions, identification in multi-figured scenes, while others emphasize its ideological role, embedding civic values and gender norms in religious imagery. Challenges arise from overlapping attributes. Both Artemis and Athena can be martial or virgin symbols in different contexts, and local cults often adapted gods with unique attributes, complicating any single canonical image. Understanding these roles and symbols connects to other facets of Greek myth: origin stories, hero cults, and ritual practice. Iconography links visual art to mythic narrative, while the gods' responsibilities explain why certain festivals existed, why myths unfolded the way they did, and how communities invoked divine favor in daily life. This visual vocabulary remains a key to unlocking ancient Greek thought and its lasting legacy. Beyond the towering Olympians, the world of Greek myth teems with lesser deities, nymphs, and mythical creatures who populate every grove, river, and shadowed cave. These beings are not minor afterthoughts. They expand the pantheon and give texture to the ancient Greeks' understanding of nature, fate, and human emotion. Lesser deities are specialized spirits, gods of thresholds, winds, hearths, and the seasons, each personifying forces too particular for Zeus or Athena to govern alone. Nymphs are female nature spirits tied to specific places. Naiads to fresh water, dryads to trees, oreads to mountains. Mythical creatures, from the clever sphinx to the terrifying hydra, embody moral lessons, dangers, and the unknown edges of the world. Their significance lies in how they bridge the divine and the everyday. While Olympian gods represent broad domains, war, wisdom, love, nymphs and local deities make the sacred immediate. A farmer invoked a local god of soil before planting. A sailor honored a wind spirit for safe passage. These beings made religion practical and personal. They also populated myths with variety. A hero's journey becomes richer when aided by a helpful nymph, delayed by a mischievous imp, or challenged by a guardian creature. In literature and art, they provide motifs of transformation, desire, and hubris. Think of Daphne turning into a laurel to escape Apollo, or the blind seer Tiresias, whose encounters with gods and nymphs deepen his prophetic role. Examples abound. The naiad nymph Arethusa, who fled a river god and was transformed into a spring, explains local springs and symbolizes chastity and persistence. Pan, a rustic god of shepherds with goat legs and a reed pipe, shows how pastoral life and wild nature merged in belief and ritual. Creatures like the chimera, lion-fronted, goat-bodied, serpent-tailed, personify composite dangers heroes must overcome, while the Sirens' song warns of temptation's fatal pull for sailors. Scholars suggest these figures reflect the Greeks' need to understand and personify environmental forces and social anxieties. Some modern critics argue the nymphs' erotic portrayals reveal patriarchal views of nature and women, offering alternative readings that reclaim them as autonomous powers. Practically, worship of local deities could conflict with state cults, creating political as well as religious tensions. Ultimately, lesser deities, nymphs, and mythical creatures connect the grand myths to lived experience. They link landscape, ritual, and story. A pantheon not only ruled from Olympus, but woven into every river valley, grove, and hearth of the ancient Greek world.